once again. Welcome to Fred's Footy Fest, and today we're looking at round 18 of the NRL Premiership. So to kick us off is tonight's clash against the Sharks and the Dragons. Now, Sharks have been in pretty good form. They had the bye last week, but they're looking pretty good so far. I expect them to flog the Dragons by 18 points. That's my margin. This is because the Dragons have not been a good side at all this season. Everything has gone downhill for the club. They've lost their coach. Luckily, they've signed a pretty good coach for next year in Shane Flanagan, although he's a bit sketchy. And they nearly lost their star player, Ben Hunt. Although, breaking news, they will hang on to Ben Hunt till the end of his contract. So, I think I'll tip the Sharks. They're sitting in 4th place, they're looking good, and everything has just collapsed for the Dragons. So, Sharks, I wouldn't be surprised if they put even more than 18. Actually, in fact, let's change my margin. I originally said 18, but I don't want to get cocky. I want to do it as a margin to say they're going to blow the Dragons off the park, but I don't want to get cocky. So, I'm going to say 20 points. I want to go higher than 18, but I don't want to be cocky. So I'm going to say 20 points. Now, Friday at 6 is a clash between the Warriors and the Rabbitohs. Warriors, great form so far. They're looking to play finals footy once again and possibly hit the top 4 if they play extraordinary. The Rabbitohs, on the other hand, are without Latrell Mitchell until about the same time when Nathan Cleary returns for the Panthers. So that's still a few weeks away. So I think the Warriors should get the job done. Rabbitohs lost to the Cowboys last week, and I saw no effort from the Rabbitohs, honestly. I had high expectations for the club, them possibly winning this year. But I think the Warriors have a pretty good shot. They're sitting in the front seat at the moment, front row seat. I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Warriors did somehow win the grand final this year. I know they're going to come really close. They've proven that they've beaten top sides. They've beaten the Sharks. They nearly beat the Storm on Anzac Day. They can do it. But I don't know. But I'm going to tip the Warriors for that clash. But if the Rabbitohs win, I wouldn't be surprised. But they've dropped down to 8th place. That's pretty disappointing for the club. But I think Warriors should get this job done. They've been looking good. The match that follows that is the Storm and the Panthers. Storm are the favourites to win this one. I'm very surprised. Sitting 3rd place on the ladder, you'd sort of expect that. However, Panthers, they're top of the table. They don't have Cleary, but Jack Cogger, he is the man at the moment for the Panthers. They have their Origin players back, and they beat the Knights last week without him. But it's Jack Cogger. He's only just recently started playing for Panthers, but he hasn't been Nathan Cleary, but he's done his job for the Panthers, and that's all he has to do. The rest, he can leave it up to the forwards. So, I'm going to tip the Panthers, and I honestly believe they're not the favourites only because this game is in Melbourne against the Storm. But I can't write off the Storm. They are 3rd place. They beat Manly, and their Origin players are looking good so far. And especially having the majority of them being Queensland players, and Queensland just won the series, so I would not be surprised if Penrith lost, but they're looking very good, and the three-peat is back on track, so I'm going to tip the Panthers. Moving on, Saturday, 3 o'clock, the Raiders and the Titans. Now, I had trouble picking a winner out of this one. Josh Papali is out for the game for this one. But honestly, I think I'm going to tip. You know what, I originally thought that I was going to tip the Raiders, but actually, I'm going to tip the Titans. They've been a pretty good side so far. I mean, they haven't been pretty good, but they beat the Broncos last week. That is my main reason why I'm going to tip them. And their winger, Khan Pereira, he's playing the greatest footy he's ever played so far. And they have the Origin reps back in the team. So that's only going to make their side better. And I'd rate their forwards better than the Raiders forwards. So I think that's what will get the Titans over the line. Tino, Dave Fafita, Sam Verrills could even be up there. He plays some good footy when he wants to. And Jaden Campbell, he's good playing at the back. So I think the Titans can get the job done here. Now, this next game is between the Cowboys and the Tigers. Now, we all know what happened last time these two teams versed. 66-18, the Tigers flogged them. Now, for this one, I think I'm going to tip the Cowboys. This is because Cowboys have won their past 3 games in a row. They're back on track. They were nearly going to come last, but now they're sitting in 10th place. So I think they're only going to come up. So I'm going to tip the Cowboys for this one. In the Saturday night game, probably the game of the round, it's the Broncos and the Dolphins at the Gabba. Now, I think Reece Walsh will be out of this game due to suspension. But I think Dolphins have also had a reshuffle. I think they've moved Cody Nikorima to fullback and Hammer to the centres. Whether this works or not, I think I'll still tip the Broncos. I think Reece Walsh's replacement is going to be Tristan Sailor, and he played pretty decent in that game against Warriors over in Napier. So I think Broncos will get the job done still. Moving on to Sunday, it's the Bulldogs and the Knights. Last week, Bulldogs had the bye, whereas the Knights lost to the Panthers. Knights, I think they pulled their finger out. I think they've been playing decent footy so far. Kalen Ponga's back. I think that really helped them a lot, and he is in better form than last year. So I think the Knights should be good enough to beat the Bulldogs. And the final game to wrap up the round is between Manly and the Roosters. 50% for both teams on tipping. That's pretty rare. See that happening? Honestly, I think to decide this one is only who's higher on the ladder. And Roosters are higher on the ladder. It's going to be a very close game. Manly have Tom Trbojevic out for the season. However, they have Jake Trbojevic back in the team. So I have no clue, but I'm going to tip the Roosters only because, as I said, they're higher on the ladder and they have their Origin reps back, but they haven't been very consistent, but they've been more consistent than Manly this season. So I think that's also another reason why I've tipped them. But I wouldn't be surprised if Manly won. But they've lost their best player, so that's also why I'm tipping Roosters alongside my other 2 reasonings. So that's my tips for this week, folks. Tune in next week for some other great games. We'll have a sneak peek at that now. We have round 19. It all kicks off between the Tigers and the Sharks. And Friday, first game will be the Dragons and the Raiders, followed by Eels and Warriors playing another Channel 9 game. Sorry, no, they won't. That's on Saturday. That game will then be followed by the Rabbitohs and the Bulldogs. And Sunday will be the Titans and the Dolphins. The rest will have a bye due to Origin. and I'll see you then. Bye.